It's rolling. It is rolling.
Okay, good. Okay, cool.
What's my intro? I can't even remember it. Welcome to 2 Cups of Blood. That's what it is. I don't know what that was.
You just broke free.
I broke through the sonic barrier.
You really did. It was like you had restraints that you just burst, and now you're a free range podcast host.
Free range eggs?
That's right, man.
I don't know. I'm gonna cut all this out. My level is fine. Maybe it's the.
Did you hear what I heard? Where like your level like
popped. Yeah, I don't know what that was. Maybe something was loose. Anyway.
Yeah.
Welcome to 2 Cups of Blood.
2 Cups of Blood.
I'm Matt, a semi-retired goth-industrial DJ, IT professional. I also make and release music under the name Vellocet.
Damn good music. And I'm Mechno, back from the dead assholes DJ who has been getting some gigs lately, just coming out of hibernation. And I find that I'm enough of an introvert that it's mildly perturbing. Like, people trying to get me to spin.
Nice.
So, but yeah, also a nerd, and I don't know, I do a lot of shit.
Practitioner of the dark arts?
Oh, yeah. Actually, I have a book review to go into.
Okay.
But yeah, so.
All right.
But let's jump on in.
Yeah, so we have a little ambient noise tonight. It's a bit of a hot, steamy night in the studio, so we have some windows open. So there's some nighttime ambiance coming through, but I don't think anyone will mind.
To paint the picture, it was, we had a very warm summer, which abruptly ended and transitioned into a beautiful, crisp fall. Nice and early.
Yeah.
For about 2 days.
Yeah.
And then...
It was more like 3 or 4 days.
It was brief.
And it was really cloudy and kind of dark. And you immediately got that, fuck this, I don't want to do anything. Get me under a blanket.
Yes, it was blanket weather.
It was dramatic.
I really enjoyed it for the very short time it was with us.
Yeah.
And now back to summer. That's it.
Yeah.
Welcome to the new world, I guess.
Yeah.
Wait, I think you just popped down.
What?
Yeah, you popped back up. For a second, I
don't know what's going on.
You jumped off the ledge, and then you came back.
I think it'll be fine.
Yeah, it's great.
So let's talk about the drinks tonight before we go any farther.
That's right, because...
This is 2 cups.
2 cups, that's right.
So our first cup, each of us tonight, is something I came up with. It is...
What do you call this?
I don't have a name for it. We should have talked about that.
Well, we'll create it on the fly.
So it's a little bit of Jim Beam honey, approximately a shot. This is going to make you like a full glass, 8 ounces or more. So it's about a shot of Jim Beam honey. Doesn't have to be Jim Beam, just some kind of honey-infused whiskey, right? With some mead, I'm using Royal Meadery's Barrel Aged the Queens, which I think is their most interesting, almost in a bourbon-y way, aged mead. It's just really nice.
They have Royal Meadery has a lot of different flavors that are very nice, but this is the most nuanced and I think it's kind of their prize blend.
It's definitely their most mature.
Mm-hmm.
So basically you fill up the rest of the glass with that. No, fill not quite to the top, the rest of the glass with that. And then it's really just a drizzle of chartreuse, maybe a quarter to a half a shot. And the chartreuse just really prevents it from being too sweet, and because it's kind of overpoweringly sweet without anything else in it. And the chartreuse kind of cuts that with that little bitterness and whatever the hell chartreuse-ness is.
Right,
it just gives it that
herbal,
complexity.
Right, yeah. And you did this over ice, yes?
Yes.
And I think that's actually kind of a crucial element to it, because the drink sort of changes as the ice melts and it gets a little like dilute. I think that's what it was, is as it gets more dilute, it lets the herbal essence, sure.
Yeah.
The herbal nature of the chartreuse come forward, and it's
And
it sort of matures in the glass.
Yeah, it mellows it all out a little bit, and I just think it's really nice. I was happily surprised when it came together.
It's a winner.
Yeah.
Now I heard you had been tinkering with a timeless classic, and had replicated a Donkey Kong Country variant.
Oh Jesus, this was a bad idea.
Yes.
Number one.
I love those.
Number two, it didn't work that great. I only did it a little bit, and I didn't make a big one. I didn't ice it down too much. So it was a banana flavored rum, banana flavored rum. In this case, it was a Bacardi.
Okay.
And I mixed it with something I don't think you can get anymore. If you go to Art in the Ages webpage, they don't list this spirit. So I think they just make a batch of something and then they come up with something new.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's interesting. But Art in the Age had a spirit named Root, which tastes just like root beer, but it's like, what the hell is it? 40%, 60% alcohol, one of those type
it's up
deals.
There.
But it tastes it's the taste of root beer. It's just not carbonated. So instead of the caffeinated root beer that would normally go in a Donkey Kong Country, along with banana flavored rum, I mixed these two alcohols together.
And it was difficult?
Yeah.
Yeah, help.
I can't say I recommend it. I will try it again to get a full impression, because right now I'm not really remembering the impression it made. But it was alright. It just wasn't great. A real Donkey Kong Country is better.
Yeah, it's kind of a... If you've never had a Donkey Kong Country, you probably should. It's like definitely in my top 10 list of drinks that you should at least once drink too much of to get like obliteratingly destroyed.
Yeah, it's not hard at all to do.
Yeah, it's easy. It's deceptive, like Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong was a fucking asshole.
Was he?
I think a little bit. Yeah,
I never played the games. Might have played the first one way back in the day.
The narrative is really loose. The gorilla on the construction site throwing barrels that are stacked at the top for some reason, trying to kill the dude who's coming to rescue his amour,
So it was a King Kong ripoff, basically.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah. Would you remember how like contrived and strained those original like Atari games were conceptually?
Oh my god.
And like the covers that were these elaborate paintings.
I would say that was the true cause of the video game crash of, what was it, was it 86 or 84? I can't remember which year it was. But yeah, there was a huge video game crash.
Before NES, you're talking?
Yeah, when it was just Atari, and I blame all these games that had like pictures of wizards and shit on the front of the box, and you're like, oh, this is gonna be fucking great, and it was a block. Yeah. Like your dude was a block. There was no wizard. They weren't like it was like 99% imagination. So why even buy it?
Yeah.
Like just look at a static tuned TV and like just go from there. I mean, geez.
So that's one of the things you can say about kids today. They'll never understand how amazing the 8-bit graphics on an NES were compared to the bullshit on a Nintendo system. To like someone who'd never seen it before, it was like, wow.
It was crazy. It was as weird as it seems. The 8-bit like original Nintendo was like, holy shit, I would have had to go to an arcade to get this level of quality.
Oh, yeah. But anyway.
Arcades are gone now, right?
You know what? In other cities, they're making a comeback.
I just feel like they're not really developing for arcade anymore. I mean,
they're still putting out machines.
Specialized hardware.
Yeah.
And, you you put it out into the arcade, and the real money, the real end game is getting it so popular that you want to create a home version for the systems.
Yeah.
And so, like, I think everybody just kind of jumps over that and goes right to, like, making Spider-Man for PS4 or whatever.
That's the mass market, right?
Mm.
And you can't, like... I haven't seen a video game where the controllers... The closest thing I can think of to, like, a video game with a modern controller setup is that wicked old Star Wars game, the original one, where you're flying around the Death Star and
That
shit.
was dope.
That was cool shit, man. That was
It
one of my favorites at Chuck E. Cheese.
Oh, it was huge. I spent so much money to not beat that game. Like, I would just go in, I got $10 worth of quarters, which I think in that time was like, that was like $100.
It's insane.
And
yeah.
you're like, yeah, I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna just keep popping quarters until I reach the end of the game. And it is tragic when you're really close, but you're out of quarters, and that's it.
I think that's one of those games that didn't have an end. It's like you get through it, you blow up the Death Star, and then it kind of loops, but it gets a little harder. I think it was one of those, the one I'm thinking of.
I didn't loop it.
You didn't get that far?
Nope.
Aw.
Didn't make it.
Sorry, bro.
I'm okay. I moved on from it.
All right.
Doesn't haunt me.
Well,
what would you do if you went to a convenience store and on the shelf there was 2 drinks that were 2 for $4 and 2 drinks that were 2 for $6? Right.
okay.
So when you check out, it comes to 12.38 or something. Right? You know it's wrong. You like straight up know, because you're like 4 plus 6 is 10. 80 cents for tax, okay, and then 20 cents for deposit.
Oh,
you're
right.
looking at 11.
Yes.
The math worked. It checks out, and you're like, it's ringing up wrong, and they're like, sorry, I can't
What?
change how it rings up, and I'm like,
So, but the difference in price is what, $1.38?
yeah, that's exactly the line of, that's exactly what the cashier said. He was like, it's close.
Dude, it's $1. Who cares?
It's close. And I was like, just give me one then. He was like, I can't do that. And I was like, what can you do, really? But I think I was kind of like in a mood when he tried to like lazy do the math, because he was like, no, it rang up right, And I was like, these are 4 items. I can do this math. I don't want to, and I resent you making me do the math. But this clearly rang up wrong.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I would protest, and then if he was a douche like that, I'd probably just pay it.
That's exactly what happened.
Because we're rich Americans.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
It's the good life, I suppose.
I suppose. Yeah.
Anyhow, sorry about that.
It's fine.
Sudden tangent.
Man, I went off on a good rant to my wife earlier, and I was like, oh, this would be great for the podcast, and now I don't remember what it was.
Well. They come and go.
Maybe
rants.
it'll come to me. I don't know.
Okay.
But let's talk about new music, because
There's a ton of it.
it's been a long time since our last podcast.
It has been.
We were supposed to do this podcast in June or July,
Oh, these kids are so thirsty.
and it's September now.
Wow. Well, See You in September is a song, which is music, which is topical to what we're discussing. So I guess it all like ties together.
Well, a lot of things have happened. So, maybe the biggest, as far as the number of acts, is possibly Electronic Saviors 5.
Mm-hmm.
Electronic Saviors 5 has come out. I don't remember the subtitle off the top of my head. But that was also had a... they did something new this year. They also put out a comic book that came with this digital download of a soundtrack. And that was like another 12, 13, 14 songs. So the whole Electronic Saviors release this year was, I don't even know, 70-some, 80 songs. It's a ton of songs.
Well, that's... So these people, they go ahead and they put up this effort to put out this release. And here I am being like, asshole, because all I can say is, like, they really did the release very weird.
How so?
Because there was Electronic Saviors 5.
Yeah.
There was Electronic Saviors 5 Premium Edition. There was Electronic Saviors 5 comic book with special bonus CD. So, like, there was just so many different release versions, and they didn't release a full, like, the disc that you were on was the bonus disc that you couldn't get as part of the 5 CD thing.
Right.
Which, like, it's just like,
Put it all together.
well, even if they just had, like, the Ultra Deluxe digital edition, it wouldn't have cost them anything to have it all. But I guess they would lose the, like, the perk of the comic book release.
Yeah.
It's hard to say. Like, I feel like it kind of got messy in, like, so many different versions.
I was kind of wondering why they did a physical book. Because, yeah, okay, if somebody wants the physical comic book, that's fine. But why don't we do a PDF version and just make it all digital? That would have saved money, I would have thought.
I would guess that somebody is... that's really hard. So somebody is, like, in the range of, I'd say, 35 to 45. And they're recapturing the nostalgia of comic books, like, of there being, like, a stand of comic books, each one promising intrigue and adventure and, like, all this blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But also, if they only released print copies, they didn't have people, like, sharing online the
That's
PDF.
true.
And,
That's true.
You know, it really, when they make copy protection on these things, really the only people who are the true losers are the people who, like, deal with, like, the irritation of trying to use this thing that they purchased, because it just gets cumbersome and, like, it's not supported on this device that they wanted to read it on, and, you know, so maybe they just wanted to keep it, like, truly exclusive to the people who purchased it.
Yeah, I can see that. And it does take sharing a compilation created to benefit a charity, like cancer research, is not it's not a great move.
I'm on the fence about it.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, there is the question of, if someone gets a release that they were not going to buy, they just were not going to buy, has the creator lost anything? And granted, it's not, you know...
It's not about the creators in this case, because all the contributors were giving those songs for free.
Right.
So that they could sell something to benefit cancer research.
Right. I just don't know. I don't know if people are... All the sales... It really turns out... It comes down to how many sales did they miss out on because of piracy. But with a release like that, I feel like the answer is pretty small. I think that people are not...
They're either going to buy it or they're not.
Yeah, if they were going to buy it and they got a digital copy, I think the majority of the people just, like, bought it anyhow.
Yeah.
Whether they got a digital copy somewhere or not.
Well, I bought it for download. I don't really buy physical media anymore. Mm-hmm. And I have to say, for, I think it's 70-ish tracks. Mm-hmm. You know, 70 tracks for, what was it, $35, something like that?
Yeah.
It was...
All to a... Yeah, it was really...
I mean, that's a fucking bargain.
Yeah.
It's great. And they're all exclusive tracks. They're not anywhere else.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's the way to go, in my opinion. You gotta get that.
And, you know, it's a bit of a plug, but go ahead and look for it and download it, or, you know, download the digital copy after purchasing, I'm saying. Just buy it now. Like, you can still get it. It still...
For sure.
Still goes to a good cause. And, yeah, there are some pretty cool tracks. Can you still get the comic book package.
I think so.
I feel like the comic book is the least compelling reason to get the comic book package.
It's not a... Yeah.
The audio release that comes with that, which I suppose is something of a conceptual score to the comic, is that...
A bit. I don't know if they... I get the sense, and I don't know this for sure, and Jim Simak or something like that is his name. I forget.
Yeah,
I don't know him. I've never met the man, but I get the sense that songs that didn't that just weren't right for the main release or that didn't fit the theme kind of went to that comic book soundtrack. Maybe some lesser known bands or some songs that weren't just weren't conceptually meshing with it kind of went there. And I don't know if they constructed that as a conscious piece that went with the book, or if it was kind of a catch-all of some miscellaneous things that they wanted to get out there, but they didn't know exactly what to do with. I'm not sure what, or if it was a little half and half of both of those ideas.
But
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I know there's... I'm not just saying, I am saying, but I'm not just saying that your track is the best track on that score. Yeah, that particular disc. Yours is the highlight.
Well, thank you very much. I haven't really digested that stuff myself. I have them all, but it's just random on my phone, so I haven't listened to it as a record, so I can't judge it yet, but thank you very much.
It's definitely awesome.
And that song, that's not a remix or anything. That's just an original song that's only going to be on that release. So,
yeah, it's a good enough cause that get like completely OCD about it and get every version of the package you can to get. It's like Pokemon. You just catch them all.
Right, and that comic book plus I think it's a 17-song soundtrack. Mm-hmm. That's only $5.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous. Just do it.
Really not a hardship to anyone.
Yeah.
So yeah, and you will definitely guaranteed hear new things, which is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
But you've beyond Electronic Saviors, you've been like churning it out. You gave birth.
Yeah, I put out my first full length. It's called Shadows. And I was worried because our last podcast we said, oh, maybe the next time we do this, it'll be after your release. And I'm like, yeah, that'd be great, because I thought it was going to happen. And I think we recorded that podcast in May. I didn't finish the record till late June, and I didn't get my artwork to be able to release things until August. So I did get it out right at the end of August, and I was really happy about that I could get it out before, later in the year.
I definitely think it is great. It's a really great album, and I think you should be super proud.
Thank you.
I am impressed. You should be proud. Like a semantic thing when people are like, "I'm proud of you." I'm like, "Why are you fucking proud? You didn't do shit. I did it." So yeah. So when somebody tells you they're proud of you for the work you did, just be like, "You did nothing." Just be impressed. That's all I ask.
Well, when you're in something and you're working on it for so long, you have no perspective on it anymore. Like,
well, yeah.
I was pretty sure like this was good and that's good, and the people who have heard it tell me this song at least is really good. But I don't know. I was just so at sea with it for a while, and it's very different sounds. It's songs in a bunch of different styles, so I wasn't sure it really meshes together. I'm not sure it really does. It's more like a mixtape than an album.
I think it has cohesive threads, and that all comes from the artist making it. And that's, like, it's like they do coalesce into like a good release.
That's good to hear.
And I was gonna conjecture. I was gonna guess that it's a lot more work than making songs to put out an album. because you have the creating of the songs, and then there's like the fine tuning of the songs and the engineering aspect of like what does your finished product come across as, and then there's like all these things that are not at all related to the song, like getting how are you going to distribute it, who's going to do your album cover. I imagine that it's extra difficult beyond just the difficulty in creating those finished product songs, all the like logistic trappings that go along with that. Was it as much of a bear, or definitely the songs were like the mountain and those are pebbles?
It's a little bit of both. So the songs are definitely where it was, where most of the work went into. So, and the way I work is really just song to song.
Mm-hmm.
So originally, I probably thought this would be another EP. So I had 4 or 5 songs. I'm like, oh, if I can get to 6 songs, that'll be a really good value for like $4 on Bandcamp, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried to engage a cover artist, and that didn't really come together. So I'm like, okay, I'm having trouble getting art. I'm going to be paying for this art. So why don't I just write some more songs? I'll make it a full-length release, and by the time we get the artwork together, I'll have 10 songs, or 9, 10, 11, 12 songs, and we'll get it out, and that'll be great. That took a lot longer than I figured.
Yeah.
So when you're writing songs, you're trying to record things, you're doing it all yourself, you have a full-time job, I have a wife I have to spend time with.
Gotta.
Not like it's a burden.
No, I know.
I love
yeah.
my wife. She's great. I love spending time with her, but you have these things in life you have to, concentrate on.
Yeah.
And you're trying to come in, every night and do a little something on this record you're trying to finish. I just can't believe how long it took. It took forever. Over a year. But, the effort did go into the songs, and I really just do them song by song, and it was amazing to get some really talented contributors to help me, and all of that. Cover art was a huge struggle. Struggle. My first 2 artists just didn't work out.
Yeah.
And I ended up finding a third artist through a very talented singer, Haley Cody, who's on a lot of the tracks on this record.
Yeah.
So I found Janelle, who does some of the artwork for the promotional stuff for Corrosion.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if she still does it or if she just did it in the past. But she was great, and she really got something together that I was pretty happy with, and that's how that came about. Once we got the art, I was able to get stuff going. Distributing is actually a lot easier today than it has been in the past, at least digitally.
Mm-hmm.
And I stick to just digital, because whenever you're doing physical media, there's an upfront cost for materials and that kind of thing, and I don't have the budget for it. So I probably won't have a physical release unless I get, a record deal or something. I don't even know how that works these days.
See, I think if you do a physical release, I think you should just do the burn copies. Because, do you remember back in the day where you could get writable CDs that were black?
Yes, I had some of those.
Yeah,
Memorex.
They were awesome.
Yeah.
I had ones that were like, I picked up at computer shows, and they were like just black, unlabeled, nothing, just pure black. And there's like a nostalgia to that. That's like really cool.
Yeah.
So, hey, get some like yellow CDs or something like really out there weird. You could totally, without too much outlay or whatever, just keep it digital.
Yeah, but then where am I going to sell them? How am I going to get them anywhere? True. So, I would love to do something on vinyl. The upfront costs
prohibitive
for creating a vinyl master and then duplicating vinyl are pretty nuts. You're talking a couple grand to even get off the ground.
I think maybe that's why Static Bloom's model is they go with, for the Relic, they go with cassette tape.
Okay, yeah.
So they do a cassette tape with a download code. And if people want something physical, which is getting to be a smaller and smaller market, because even the people with CD players in their car are like just looking like also have an aux port. And
New cars don't have CD players.
I know, that's just you got Bluetooth. Maybe you have an aux.
Maybe.
I think even the aux is like an endangered species because they're getting rid of they're fucking assholes and they're getting rid of the headphone jack.
Well, we talked about this already. Let's just move on.
Okay, yeah. No, let's get back into it because I feel like I've been
headphone jack?
Yeah, I've been vindicated on this.
Vindicated?
Yes. There has been recent call for the return of the headphone jack because USB-C is not sorted out.
No?
No. If you have a headphone adapter for one phone, it doesn't work on other phones, and it's just a freaking mess.
Because other phones suck.
No, it's because there's not a standard in like whether or not it has the DAC on. Okay, whatever, man.
The listener has to see your face when you said no and turned your head to the side like that. That was amazing.
I get worked up. Anyhow,
it was great. I love to see your passion come through.
So I still say if you're going to get rid of it, put something better, and they didn't.
Right.
So, okay.
Well,
so whatevs. All right.
We'll
I got to live with it.
We'll see what the future holds.
If it's really that big a deal to me, I'll make my own damn phone.
There you go.
Sure.
You're crazy like that.
Yeah. Well, I did actually think about making iPhone cases that went over, put an auxiliary battery, and restored the headphone jack, and gave you the ability to charge.
Like almost like a docking station.
Yeah,
with some functionality.
Just a case that had like the lightning splitter and the headphone jack, and all that in one package, so that everything that they stripped away could come back without being like a ridiculous. Well, hold up a second. Let's get back to your release because I did. Okay. Before we drift too far from it, other than like the really monumental process of actually like getting it to the point where you're like good to release it. Have people? I understand that you are now like internationally acclaimed.
I don't know about that, but maybe.
I'm sure. Well, what countries have you had sales?
It's hard to say because, so the way I release the music is through a service called DistroKid. DistroKid.com. It's one of the bigger digital distributors. There's other stuff like CD Baby, I think, and there's a few others. And I actually asked Brian Gropner for advice on this. He said he's used both, so I don't know. I went with DistroKid, where it's a subscription model, which I kind of despise. But for this, it kind of made sense. So you pay like a yearly fee, and you can release as much stuff as you want, which is what was the attraction. Because I thought I was going to be releasing a bunch of EPs. Like my original goal was to put out like 4 EPs a year, and that's just so not realistic.
Yeah.
So I put out the first EP, and it's been over a year, and now I put out the record. So you pay them like, I don't know, it's not much. It's like $40 a year.
Okay.
And they will distribute your music to all the major outlets. So they put you on Spotify, YouTube,
Pandora,
iTunes, Amazon.
Okay.
Deezer, Napster is back, I guess.
Okay.
There's a bunch. I can't even name them all. There's a shit ton that I haven't even heard of.
Did you say Spotify?
Spotify, definitely, yeah. So they get your music everywhere. You can put in your lyrics, and the streaming sites that support lyric and, different tags, they'll put all the metadata out there for you. So it's really nice. And So distributing is now pretty easy. You just have to make sure your song titles are right. You put the right contributors on there. You have your credits, formatted correctly, and you get your lyrics up there. So that part isn't too hard. Although I screwed up a bunch of stuff and I had to revise it on Bandcamp because I'd done it a couple times and then I was waiting for artwork, and then the page, you go back to it and your draft is gone, so you have to redo it. And
of course.
I made some mistakes, but the nice thing with Bandcamp is you can correct them. So
cool.
So the Bandcamp site, and then DistroKid pushes it everywhere else. So that part wasn't too hard. If I was doing physical media, it would have been much more complicated.
Yeah.
And much more costly. So, what was the question originally? I'm sorry.
Well, originally I was talking about the actual effort in the release and the distribution, and you being internationally acclaimed.
Oh,
and so how it ties back in between your distribution method and actually getting the metrics for where people are.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
So DistroKid, who did the main release to all the streaming sites and all the download, store place sites, they actually have a very detailed report where you can see which services people access to get your music and where they came from, what country. So it's very informative, but there's a 2 to 3 month delay in the reporting. So for the newest release, I can't really say. For the old stuff, I can see, somebody streamed it from Mexico, somebody streamed it from Russia. There's a few different countries.
It just takes some time to catch up.
Yeah. So, of course, most of my stuff is in the U.S., but there was some Denmark and
That's cool.
Great Britain, a few places.
Very nice.
Which, I was very happy to see. And one of the first people who bought the new record was from Netherlands, I think. And shortly thereafter, it showed up on some pirate sites. But I don't really mind because, I just want to get it out there so people can hear it. I don't expect to make a lot of money.
And I do think that as you are getting, fans, you're actually getting fans. The fans buy.
Yeah.
They people want to contribute. They want to be a patron of the arts. That's the whole philosophy of Patreon, is people want to make the world a better place by encouraging the art that they like.
Right.
And so I think regardless of whether or not one of the first people to purchased it so that they could leak it, I think it's only going to expand your fan base.
Right. I really don't mind. I have a job. I don't see myself getting away from getting away from that job.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see myself making a living from music ever. It would be great if it happened one day, but I don't know. It's nice to dream, but I don't feel that's particularly realistic. So as long as it gets out there and people hear it and have a chance to see if they like it, that's what matters to me, at least at this point. So I appreciate the sale, and I don't mind that guy leaked it.
Yeah,
that's fine.
I was impressed that they were so up on your release that they got it so fast.
Yeah, he must have been on the mailing list or something. He must have, when he used the download code, put in an email address, and he was notified of the next release. So that was nice, because that happened before I even put anything on social media. He was on it. So I think he must have been on the mailing list.
It also means that your first EP was impressive. I mean, because it was so impressive that whoever got it to leak actually purchased it, which is cool.
Yeah, it's nice to know. I mean, you never know how good your songs are, I guess, but I strive to make sure they're at least technically sound. I would say technically perfect, but there's probably no such thing. It's so subjective, even in the audio engineering world. Like,
it comes out the way you can, you allow it out.
Right. You try to make it technically unimpeachable.
Yeah.
So that people have to judge it on its like artistic merit, if they like it or not. So, if anybody likes it, it's very gratifying.
Have people been hitting you up for remix kits or stems, or what do they call it these days? Not
yet. Stems is probably the term they would use, and no, that hasn't happened. I had a buddy who was a very talented engineer who I would love to have remix something, but I've been a little out of touch with him. I don't know what his deal is, so I would love him to do something, but he's kind of out of reach right now. But I don't have any stems prepared. If somebody asks me, I'll happily get them together. But it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah. I remember back in the day. And I think in some ways, I don't see myself as like some kind of like in revision. I don't see myself as like ahead of my time usually, but it was like 1992-ish, somewhere between 92 and 96.
Okay.
That I was discussing with Pop Will Eat Itself, and I said, hey, why don't you release a CD that is just all, like, the entire CD is your tracks separated so that you can, and they were actually a little bit, their response was not an asshole response, but it was definitely a little sarcastic. Like, yeah, okay. But,
Well, this was after your terrible joke, right?
Yeah.
That probably set a tone.
It was a good joke.
It was a good joke.
But I think that,
the basis is racist.
That we must face this. I was like... well, which is difficult because I feel like they had tension in the band already.
Okay.
And when I said this, it was almost like a reaction of like, what have you heard?
Oh.
And then I made the joke, and so like it had plucked chords or something. So, but whatever, they're all perfect angels to me.
Oh,
can do no wrong. Yeah, the choir. Yeah. So yeah, I would I would love a remix kit from you. Like, I think. What would be the reason why you as an artist would not just make a public release of the remix kit? I mean, obviously there's the risk of someone's going to bite your, if I know the reason why rap artists don't do it, because someone will jack your beats.
True.
Are you afraid people will jack your beats, sir?
No, I'm not. I don't know where to put it. I guess I would have to, I don't know. I could put it on Google Drive or something like that and give the link to people who are interested. But I don't know how to solicit that, you know what I mean? And then...
Why don't you just make a new Bandcamp EP? Name your price and just take one, like, every... 7, for you, it's going to be ridiculous. A 32-track EP that is like every track of your
I don't think
isolated.
I don't think that's the greatest idea.
No?
It'd be a little unwieldy because there are some songs that have a ridiculous number of tracks. So I would have to bring them together into stems a little better. But,
you distill them.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the best way to do it. I will find a way. If there's interest, I'll find a way. I'll say that.
I think it'd be cool. But it is difficult because like years down the line, you'll hear like, and you'll be like, "That's fucking mine."
Possibly.
That was my hi-hat.
Yeah, maybe.
Fucking assholes.
I'll tell you my experience. I've done some remixes in the past. It was mostly from bands who did remix contests, and they posted the stems, the different parts on their websites. So, like, Lamb, Nine Inch Nails did some remix type stuff. Curve did some contests. Unreadable Communication, I did a couple mixes of, and stuff like that. So that was really cool. And then
Angel
besides,
Spit.
I don't know about Angel Spit.
Yeah, they have like remix kits that whenever
Okay.
they have a release, they'll be like the remix kit that they send out to DJs and stuff.
That's nice.
Yeah.
I have a domain, but I don't have an official website up yet. It just redirects to my Bandcamp. So when I'm ready to put a website together, I could do some of that stuff and have it there. I don't feel the need to do that quite yet.
Yeah.
But the only other person I've done remixes for has been Brian Gropner of the Gothsicles, and I can't remember how that worked. I know I asked him for the latest song, which was the Bruja song.
Oh, yeah.
What was the name? Do you remember?
I remember the sample, but I don't remember what he called the song.
This is what the Bruja clan will do to all you gangrels.
Yeah.
I think that was it. So that was fun. I asked him for that one because my wife wanted me to do something with that, so
That's good.
I went after that one. But the other one, I can't remember if... I think I asked him for that too, and he allowed me access to the tracks for like Drop Dead Squid Face, and what was the other one I did? One More Chance to Get the High Score,
yeah,
then we'll
one
go.
more. What is it? I know this. God damn it!
One More Chance to Get the High Score.
Is that what it's called?
And then we'll go, or something very similar to that. So that was fun. I did those, and he actually liked them and put them on his remix EP.
Oh, it was that's for me that your release, your version of. I just call it One More High Score, but
That's fine.
yours is the definitive mix for me. That is like, because it's the only, like, his version is great, but it doesn't have a nostalgic feel that, like, puts you in an arcade back in the day, and yours does.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, definitive edition.
Well, being a Cure and New Order fan, that's kind of what I tried to bring to that song.
Yeah,
is
you
some of
did
that
it.
kind of sound. So, thank you very much.
Yeah, you nailed it. Just a quick interjection. When Brian was in town recently for the X-Anniversary show, he stayed over at my house, and
Okay.
I think it's hard for regular people to interact with me sometimes. Like, I don't know that Brian, I'm not going to insult him by calling him a regular person.
He's not a regular person.
He's not a regular person, but at the same time, in retrospect, like, the shit's weird. Like, I don't realize that I'm doing weird shit, and it's just like people can hang and roll with it or they can't.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, there's a cabin in the woods in the attic. You just, go to the, when you go to my house, just keep going up and take the first left and keep going up like a spiral staircase, and you'll get to the cabin in the woods in the attic. Because my attic is like wood paneled and there's a wood stove, and it really feels like you're in a cabin in the woods. It's like,
It's pretty sweet.
it's kind of weird, but it's great. So I had that up there, and I had made him a keto cheesecake. And
Nice.
the best part is, despite multiple warnings, so you can make a ketogenic cheesecake, which is like a very low carb cheesecake, if you use alcohol sugar like erythritol. Erythritol? I think that's how you say it. Yeah.
No idea.
I'll go commercial name because I can remember it. Swerve. So you
Okay.
make it with Swerve, and it works out. It's still no carb.
Swerve City is one of my favorite Deftones songs.
Yeah, so it's super sweet.
There you go.
I get it. Now I know where they got the name. Yes. But I kept warning him. I was like, so it's sweetened with erythritol. You could potentially suffer stomach distress if you eat too much of it. So just don't eat like half a cheesecake in one sitting.
No? That's what Brian did, right?
Absolutely. I came home.
Well, Brian might have had help, right?
Yeah. His
Significant other?
significant other, yes, was traveling with him, and I come home, and of course,
Jesus, significant other is such a 90s term, isn't it?
well,
Nobody says that, do they? That's
I think they should say it more now, right?
Yeah? I don't know.
There's like a whole thing. Oh boy, I'm on a precipice.
Sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, it's cool. The precipice is like the whole. We don't realize that we're actually very, very close or in the middle of a singularity right now. And this whole backlash against everyone with such ambiguous engendering, where there's like people saying there's thousands of genders and non-binary and conservative people who are like, ridiculing. It really comes down to a post-human thing that's happening where...
Or ex-human, anyway.
Well, nice. It's perfect. Well, like the actual trappings of the physical body are like on the edge of irrelevance. Like people are intellectual constructs now. Most of their communication is spent in the like cybernetic organism that is all of these people communicating via computer.
Yeah, it's not in a physical space so much. Yeah.
So, okay, anyhow. Rolling back, so Brian, I gave him the door code to get into the house so that he could, I've known Brian a long time. He's not going to steal my shit. He gets the door code to the house.
Except the whiskey, right?
No.
Back in the day?
Yeah, back in the day.
Those days are gone now.
Yeah,
I shouldn't even bring it up.
No. And it wasn't stealing. I'm sure that, like, he was welcome to it.
It was offered, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So he got the door code, and I told him, like, I texted it to him, so I was like, when you get tired, you're not stuck until breakdown. You just, you have the address, you have the door code. Crash when you need to crash. It's cool. So he went back and crashed. He stayed pretty late, like 2 or 3 or something. But when I got home around 6, half the cheesecake was gone. Like, they had done half the cheesecake. And I was like, oh, what have they done?
It was the after-show snack. They had to.
I guess it was half the cheesecake, some broccoli crowns, and a stick of butter.
Yeah.
So I think he really, he ate dinner.
A whole stick of butter.
He likes butter. Butter and broccoli, and, I'm currently in a remission, or...
From keto?
Yeah, I'm not doing keto at the very moment.
That's how you're drinking the drink?
Yeah, I'm drinking the drink.
What's the name of that drink?
The bee sting.
The bee sting?
Yeah, sure.
I'll go with that. It's called the bee sting.
To Dow.
It packs a punch.
It does. But it's actually really drinkable.
Thank you.
It's a very nice drink.
Cool.
So, I generally keep keto myself, and so it was really easy to be sensitive to what he could have as keto, and I don't know, I think it was a welcome change from, the events being catered with pizza and wings, and he's like keto and a vegetarian, so
yeah,
like he was like, well, you can eat the toppings off the pizza and that'll kind of work, and it's like,
that's rough.
That's hard.
Yeah.
But I brought him a bag of macadamia nuts, and like after his performance, he was just like, he opened the bag and just tipped it into his mouth, like an entire quarter pound of macadamias, just
nice.
Yeah.
Super nice guy. He always says hi
Yeah.
to me, which I really appreciate. And I don't want to go up and bug him if he's getting ready to play. So.
He gave you a shout out.
Yeah, he did that too. Every time he's on stage and I'm around, he'll call out Velocinate. So that's really nice of him.
He is a really professional artist, which you might not assume from the irreverent, like, playfulness of his like content. But he is a really professional artist, and I think he's a very intelligent dude, because to be as sensitive and aware of things as he is, not so much, not even so much in his songs, but just the way he does research where he's going. When he's going to a place, he'll research the place, and, his projections will include very specific references to things that are at the place he's performing at.
Oh,
and
nice.
He really is a very intellectual, strangely, unexpectedly, very intellectual performer. And he's a nut. Bless him.
He's awesome.
He is. He's a good dude.
Yeah,
Real
man.
good dude. So I just wanted to loop back on your release, because I know we started there, and our conversations meander. It's cool.
Yeah.
It's like a river. The other thing I wanted to ask you about was, there's all this wrangling involved, and I know that you were not the solo performer on the album.
Yeah.
Was it difficult working with other contributors, or did they bring a lot to it and provide a lot of inspiration? What was the experience like?
Well, that's a good question, because I don't work well with others, which is why I write my own music and kind of do it myself. But I feel really lucky that I've met some people along the way that have that I can work with, that are really awesome. So obviously Haley Cody is great, and they did amazing work on the record. Haley wrote.
Haley has a great voice.
Yeah. Oh,
really
for sure.
Surprising. Knowing Haley in real life, I would not have expected that level of vocal performance.
Oh yeah.
I just wouldn't have guessed, but it's dope.
Pretty amazing, right?
Yeah.
So Haley really brought it, and they wrote a lot of that was Haley's writing. I had a very small part, and I might have helped co-write a couple of those lyrics, but most of that is just Haley. So that was really great. My friend who I've known a long time, Jason Otero, whose birthday I was at, where I first saw you, and you eventually introduced me to my current wife.
Oh, yes.
So, that was all through knowing Jason. Jason Otero, I think, brought a lot to Drift and Sway is the name of that track, track 3 on the record. I really thought that came together brilliantly.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't know what was going on with that music exactly. It was a little slow. It was a little 80s throwback, but he really brought something special to it and brought it to a whole new level.
Yeah.
Which was great. And then the other guy on the record was a drummer I've worked with before. Extremely talented. I love his playing. He's very versatile. Eric Busta is just a great guy. Whenever we get together, we just talk about music. He's so passionate about music, which is really what's amazing about him. He'll just talk and talk, tell you about new bands, and he just really loves it. And he is I feel like I've said this before, he's a very talented player, and he can do a lot of great stuff, but he will do what's best for the song, which I really appreciate.
That's an artistic maturity.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, and I anything I do, I'll put him on. Like, if any doubts, I'll just get Eric Busta in there, and he'll just put in a great performance. So I'm definitely gonna work with probably with all those people in the future because
Very cool.
it was such a good experience. So
I think it's probably a departure from your comfort zone to an extent because people will present you with what they had and it's not exactly what you were thinking, but then
Right.
you come around to see the virtues of what they've brought and see how to incorporate that.
Oh, Eric's playing I love from the beginning. But sometimes when you're looking at a lyric on paper, it can be a little off-putting. But when you hear it, when you hear how it's sung, that's what makes the difference.
Yeah.
So, like, you can't judge something just based on... It's almost like... There's a Morrissey song, My Love Life, that's so simple. It's very simplistic lyrics, but when you hear how it's performed, you get a whole different sense from it. It's kind of like that. Like, you can't just judge it based on the content of the words themselves. Like, you have to hear it all... you have to hear it performed. And that's where it really comes alive, and it works or it doesn't work.
Yeah, I mean, you sometimes can't read transcripts of conversations and understand them.
Right.
It's like there's way more there's more nuance in the communication, and that's way more the case in lyrics.
Yeah, there's
like
a different
delivery.
There's a different context there.
Yeah.
So I think I was really fortunate that I don't know. I think Haley and Jason just really brought it. And I love what they did, and I'm really happy that that I found them and trusted them to get on there and do what they did, and I think it's really great.
Yeah,
I don't know, just my opinion, but I love it.
I agree with I second your opinion. I second the motion. It worked out great.
Thank you.
Yeah, so. I guess in summary, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
It's a great album, and I hope you're very proud of it because I think you should be.
I am proud of it. I'm still adjusting to it. Like I need a little bit of distance from the very intense making of it and listening to the mixes like 27,000 times and adjusting every little thing to letting it have some room to breathe and live and then coming back to it and being able to enjoy it. I'm still in that in-between phase.
Yeah, there's always, with any kind of artist, there is a point where the artist resents and hates the creation. And it's only like the distance after that like lets you say, I made something pretty fucking cool. Like this world has something it didn't, well probably that's a bit grandiose if you're thinking it about like, I made something and this world has something that it didn't have before. Look what I did.
Well,
but I mean, that's legit.
Yeah, I mean, I do need some distance from it to be able to really appreciate it, but I'm very happy for some of the good feedback I've heard. I have a fan in Lebanon, which is amazing.
That's awesome.
I was very happy to hear from her. I think a comment on YouTube that really, was great to hear about. And I know Steven Siebold liked the record. I think Haley knows Steven and shared it with him. So it was great to get good feedback from him. And I think we're going to get a little bit of local radio play. So that's
very
always
cool.
good. So I'm excited about that. So, it's just going.
Awesome.
And it's just independent release, and I'm trying to get it out to the people I can get it out to that I know. So I'm hitting up some DJs and a couple places, and I don't really know what I'm doing, but I'm trying to get it out there, and we'll see what happens.
Awesome. Well, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Cool.
Other new releases.
Yes.
There have been a bunch. We talked about Electronic Saviors. Church has put out a new record that was really good.
It's great.
What's it called? Love? Something about the end of love?
I'm going to
look that
do
up.
something forbidden. It's on my phone. So I am looking it up real quick. No, not that. Which, incidentally, there is a new Ashbury Heights release. Which
I didn't know that.
I'm a huge fan.
They're really good.
They are really good,
You're giving me mixed.
No, I
mixed
don't want to
feelings.
be a shit because it's like I'm not. It wasn't what I was expecting. And so it's really difficult. I love it, but it's difficult subject matter sometimes. Like, I feel like there's a lot of, and maybe I'm completely misinterpreting, but I feel like there's a lot of, like, heavy things in the authors, is they still writers or authors?
I would say
Artists?
writer, I guess.
Yeah.
Artist.
Something
yeah.
in their lives that have come through either literally or just as, like, tincture to their artwork that make it a challenging album. You know, like, one of the songs has a thing about, like, it's just got this feel of being an unrealized artist. And that's how I interpret it, but there's also, like, visceral things about, like, people's teeth falling out. So, like, it's a little fucked up, but
is
it
musically good, or it's just the lyrics that have you a little conflicted?
You know, I'm super hesitant to say anything that's negative, but I feel like with a lot of the songs, it almost feels like you can directly tie it to an inspirational song. Like, there's a song called Science, or I think it's called It's Science, but it is, like, so much related to Oingo Boingo's Weird Science.
Okay.
Like, to the point where that's part of the challenge of listening to it is, like, is this an incredibly derivative or an incredibly referential work? But, you know, the dude's a genius, so okay, whatever.
I gotta check that out. Do you remember the name of that release?
Yeah, it's called Victorian Wallflowers.
Okay.
Yeah, it's good. It's weird.
I will look for that.
Fuck all, man. Let me see here. Churches.
Yeah, come on, bro. Young Jamie, what's up? Old Jamie, what's happening?
It is called Love is Dead.
Love is Dead. There you go.
Love is Dead.
Very good.
And it's very good, and it, like, I think if you watch a late 80s movie about a girl who's having a hard time in a private school, that is the feeling of this album.
I feel like it's not even that retro 80s for me. I feel like they have... I feel like it's their most emotional record. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's very... Because the feeling I've gotten from Churches before has been a little drier, a little less... You know, it's someone singing, but it's not someone singing with a lot of feeling, I felt. And the electronic music can sometimes be a little sterile, I guess. But this record especially, I think all the emotion comes through.
Oh, I just think it's splendid. It's a really good album.
It is really good. Really, really good.
It's very rare that I get an album and then rate the album. So, like, basically on my phone, when I hear a song I like, I rate it 3 stars or better. And I have a playlist of my top rated, and the criteria is 3 stars or better. But when I say rate this album 3 stars, it is like I want this album on my phone, or 4 stars or 5. I can't remember what I rated it, but it rated enough to qualify to keep the entire album on my phone. So, yeah, it got an album rating, and it's in there, so
Nice.
It's a good one.
Yeah, I really like it. There was also a new release by Interpol. It's called Marauder. Have you heard that one?
Yes, and I do have it, and I have an interesting, if Ozzy Osbourne created an indie band, it would be Interpol.
Interesting.
Like, if just listen to it in that frame, and you're like, yeah, okay, yeah, that's exactly what this is.
I'll say I'm a big Interpol fan, and it's not what I was expecting. It was a little more subdued, but on the second or third listen, I think I'm getting more into it. I haven't fully digested it yet. I don't know what to make of it. It's better than the self-titled record, which I did not care for very much at all, despite the song Lights being one of my favorite Interpol songs of all time. The rest of that record
Didn't connect with you?
I did not love at all. And I know it was self-produced, so maybe that had something to do with it.
Well, I think, if by any long shot the artists who we're talking about hear this podcast or hear a reference to the podcast, we can be critical of a particular work while also like appreciating the effort that went into that and and recognizing how subjective it is to give a review. Yeah,
that's one of the things that making this record has taught me. I learned a lot from making my record about a lot of things, but if you think that people are just tossing off these releases and not putting a lot of work and thought and heart into them, you're just wrong. Because no matter what you think of someone else's art, unless they're just trying to appeal to everybody from a place that isn't genuine, which, how would you ever know? You don't really know that for sure.
True.
They're really trying to express themselves, and they're putting their vision forward in the best way they can. So it's all really subjective. I
guess that's the maturity of a reviewer, is that separating what they consider to be a bad product and a product that they can appreciate but that perhaps didn't like connect with them. So like I think I enjoyed the new Interpol.
It didn't connect with me right away, but I think I'm getting more into it the more I listen to it. I'm adjusting to its mood, which is a little more subdued than I was expecting.
I don't have a huge like underlying connection with Interpol. I mean, not even Jail, but
yeah,
that's what I always cite.
That's a great song.
Yeah, it's great. But, I think that I have enough detachment that I can just, appreciate the song for what it is. And it's, it's Ozzy Osbourne doing an indie band. And that's a really weird and cool thing. That's what this album sounds like to me.
I'm going to have a whole new perspective when I go back to that on
give
Monday.
A listen. You'll be like, yeah, okay, I guess I can see it now.
Okay. Well, Interpol's Marauder. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Bears more. For me, I just need to hear it a little bit more to make up my mind, but it's certainly not bad.
No, that's good.
The Cure, my favorite band, also released a remastered version of Mixed Up with some additional bonus tracks and a whole new disc of new remixes that I didn't love being... The Cure is my favorite band of all time, and
it's tough. Remixes are really tricky because you want something artistically like new and something you can appreciate in that remix.
Right.
And when you're like, yeah, but I still like the original like much more.
Right.
It's hard.
And I can only think that, back in 1990 or whenever Mixed Up originally came out, that's how a lot of the hardcore fans felt. When that album came out, it's like, ugh, this is terrible. Like, the remix of Pictures of You from Mixed Up is very different, and probably a lot of people didn't connect with that. But me being young and that being one of the first Cure records that I listened to, or it might have came out right after I started getting into the Cure, I can't quite remember. I dug it like immediately. Like I really liked it. I liked both versions pretty much equally. In fact, I think I like that remix better. And it has such the big beat and nothing else going on, and it's kind of dry, and I don't know. It's just different. It's very different.
Yeah.
But I dug it a lot. I I kind of liked Mixed Up, and that was one of their bigger records because it came out after Disintegration and where they got huge, and a lot of people bought that record. But the new remixes,
Problematic for a fan.
it's a little tough because some of them I see what he's going for. Like, they're all done by Robert Smith.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a remix of Shake Dog Shake, which is a great song. I love the original. I love the live version on In Orange. You know, it's got a lot of energy. It's an aggressive song. The remix does this like looping, very psychedelic thing. I totally understand where he's coming from. You know, if you're on mushrooms, you're gonna listen to that song. It's like looping, and the drum fill comes in again, and then, oh, wait a minute, this time it's a little bit longer. What was that? Did I hear that right? Am I just fucking tripping? I get what he's going
That's
for.
cool.
But it's not great. It's just not better. Like, if you're going to remix something, I feel like it has to be an improvement or a different statement.
Yeah, what's new?
That's on its own good enough to be...
That's how I feel about cover versions, too.
Yes.
If you're doing a cover, what are you bringing?
Exactly.
What are you bringing?
If it's on par with the original, it's like you're not quite doing enough. It has to be... You have to differentiate or be better or bring something new to it.
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard, because I think, do you know the band C's?
No.
They've done a couple of, I don't know if it's a couple, or at least one Depeche Mode cover.
Okay.
And they did Shake the Disease.
Ooh.
And it is like, I really love it. Like, they brought something. So was it Hooverphonic that
Yes.
also did? They also did a really good cover.
I like what they did, but I wish they would have put in that "Understand Me," that part of the chorus that they left. They left out a whole piece of the song.
Yeah.
And that kind of breaks my heart. But the rest of what they did, I love. But I love that song in general. So
yeah, the C's version of Shake the Disease, it's got like sort of a, I can't even explain it. It's like electronic to the point where it's almost like an artificial intelligence remix of Shake the Disease. It's interesting. But yeah, it's interesting. It's not a cover band doing Shake the Disease. It's like it does crazy weird things with like very low frequency stuff. So like there's it's really cool.
I will have to check that out because that is one of my favorite Depeche Mode songs, believe it or not.
I believe it. It's a dope song.
It's an awesome song.
I don't know if I've ever heard. I've had the blessed life to never hear a bad version of that.
I've only heard two, so
Boom. And so you two are blessed.
all right, let's take a brief pause from new releases
Yeah.
so you can talk about our second drink and maybe make me one.
Oh my gosh, let's do this.
I have to say I'm pretty blasted from that first, what did we call it?
Bee sting.
The bee sting. The bee sting was powerful, but it was fairly a tall one. Whoa. Okay.
Come on, that's a shot.
That's enough absinthe. Yeah, that's more than a shot.
So we're working with.
That's a shot and a half.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
You're a big baby.
I don't mind. I'm home. Fuck it. I'll get as drunk. Whatever.
I can. Just looking in your glass, there's a bubble in it, and I thought for a second like it was like a gnat or something. Well, making sure you weren't in trouble.
Thank you.
So yeah, the second drink that I'm concocting is the Maryland Monster, and it's called such because it is the combination of Marilyn Manson absinthe with Monster. Oh, I opened the wrong one. God damn it.
What? Do you have a shirt? What are you doing?
Oh.
They're not all the same?
No, they're not. This is the one I meant to open.
Oh.
They're both white. One is the Monster Zero Ultra White,
Okay.
and one is the Monster Dragon Fruit Rehab.
Oh.
So I now am roped into chugging a Dragon Fruit Rehab.
Let me try the dragon fruit if you don't
Okay,
mind.
yeah, please.
Let me just take a sip. Because that kind of reminds me, the dragon fruit, I immediately remember Sobe. Do you remember Sobe?
Yes, of
Those
course.
fucking things were great.
Sobe was awesome. And, like, they weren't trash. It was like
That's not bad.
there was an orange carrot that was awesome. And
That was my jam right there.
There were so many really good
Yeah.
Sobeys.
Thank you. That's pretty good.
But I found that if you loosh, whatever.
Loosh? I don't know.
Yeah, if you dilute the Marilyn Manson absinthe with Ultra Zero, it's like instant cocktail, very drinkable.
Huh. That's interesting.
Do you despise it?
No, not at all.
Yeah, so it's really quite drinkable, and you can absolutely completely dishevel yourself. But which I do want to say that the Mansmith, which is Mansynth, is a pretty good absinthe.
We had some of that straight before the podcast started, and I agree. It is pretty drinkable, especially. It says it's 66.6% alcohol, but even at that high percentage, it really doesn't feel like it. And it actually is. It is very drinkable, and the flavor is pretty good.
Yeah,
I was impressed. And
yeah.
this,
Marilyn Manson did put his name on a particularly nice absinthe. It's not exactly my favorite, but I'd say it's in my top 3.
I would say this cocktail. What's the Maryland Monster?
the Maryland Monster.
It tastes kind of like absinthe and Sprite. And what the hell just happened?
Yeah, that's it.
Technical problems. Give us a sec.
I was not sure if that happened to you as well. Oh, we're back. Just like, how did that happen?
Power just went out to our monitoring, our headphones, basically.
Okay, cool. Hey, roll with it.
So I don't think anything happened with the recording, but
okay, cool.
that was weird.
So the Maryland Monster is
It's kind of like Sprite and absinthe. That's what it reminds me of.
Yeah, kind of.
It's not bad. It's pretty good.
No, it's definitely like you're a high schooler, you shouldn't really be drinking, but you had some leftover money after you bought your eyeliner, and so you go for it. You treat yourself.
I'm the square that never drank in high school.
I only drank once.
Yeah?
It was horrible.
Was that at a party, or what was the situation?
It was like a party, and there was like, I don't know how this party didn't get broken up. There was drunk high schoolers all over their front lawn. Like, how did this go? Like, how did this happen?
In Westchester?
Yeah.
Okay.
Fuck that place. Seriously. Nothing. Almost nothing good.
Well, at least you were close to something.
I guess, yeah, sure.
I grew up close to nothing.
That's true. That's true. Mexico. I drove past it on my way to Ottawa.
Blowing up my hometown like that? What's up?
What? Is that? You can cut it.
No, it's okay.
Young Jamie.
Small town in central New York. Nothing to do. Nowhere to go. I mean, I didn't have Chinese food till I was 18.
Yeah, it's like
Can you believe that?
Chestertown.
It's fucking crazy.
It's like Chestertown. There's no Chinese food in Chestertown.
That's weird. There's Chinese food in Mexico now.
Oh, that's good.
We have a fucking McDonald's. We have a Chinese food place.
Wow.
We have a Stewart's. It really blew up.
Brilliant.
There was none of that shit when I was young.
That's amazing.
Well, it's different. It's not
Progress.
amazing. It's something.
Yeah.
Anyway, what the hell?
Yeah.
Seizure? What was their name?
Seize.
Sorry.
Yeah. So did you have what was there anything else that had come out?
Yes. Let's go back to the list. So what else we have? So the Cure's Mixed Up remaster is good, and I'll just finish on this. So there's 3, in air quotes, discs. Mm-hmm. So There's one record that's mixed up, remastered. There's another record that's it's not new, but it's older remixes. It's original remixes that haven't been on CD before.
Okay.
So it's like
B-side kind of things, or
it's like a 1982 or 83 mix of Let's Go to Bed, like an original remix. And or maybe one done in like 1990 for mixed up, but it didn't get on mixed up, so they have it on this. And what else is on there? Unless you have the 12-inch single on vinyl of Pictures of You, there's what they call an extended remix of Pictures of You that's really good. It's more of an alternate remix. It's not really extended. It's no longer than the original song. The original fucking song is like 8 minutes long.
It's like, yeah, not extended.
So it's not any longer than that, but it's just a really good alternate version.
Cool.
Things like that.
Nice.
And that's really good because it's original shit. And then there's the third disc, quote unquote disc, which is the new stuff. And some of the new stuff is okay. I don't like a lot of the new stuff, but I'm like hardcore. I'm attached to these songs, so I can't.
It's hard, yeah.
I can't stand them being different. Like M is one of the songs.
How dare they?
M from 17 Seconds is one of my favorite songs. And there's a new remix of it that just I don't quite like. But someone who isn't as attached to the original material might like them more. So for a new listener, it might be good stuff.
Cool.
They're not intrinsically bad. They're just bad because I'm so attached to it. For me, it's kind of like I describe. I had a Facebook post where I described it as the Phantom Menace of the Cure's catalog.
Oh my gosh.
But I hadn't listened to the whole thing yet. Some of the later stuff is better. Like the Last Day of Summer remix is really good.
I'm going to risk using a word incorrectly.
Go ahead.
But I think that the term is sacrosanct, right? When something is so sacred, you can't really, so I think the originals are sacrosanct.
Yeah.
And
to me, at least.
It's really...
It's tough.
Sort of troublesome to try to do a variant because it's got a really tough comparison to go against.
Yeah, for me it's tough, but other people might like it.
Yeah,
might like it more. So let's see. There's also been a new release from a newer project called Helix, which is Tom Shear from Assemblage 23.
Oh, cool.
With a vocalist named Mary.
I don't know the Helix release.
I don't know her last name, but it's pretty damn good because Assemblage 23 is amazing. And this is sort of a, not down-tempo, but a more relaxed version of that with female vocals. So I think it's really quality. Again, the name is Helix. I did not write down the name of the record for right now, but it's a really good record.
Okay.
Bandcamp and everywhere.
Cool.
And what I'm excited about is I bought tickets to Dark Side of the Con.
I should do that. Which
is in New Jersey next year, next spring, some point. I don't remember the month off the top of my head. But, Stabbing Westward, Assemblage 23, Helix, 49 other bands I don't remember right now.
Oh, shit.
It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, that sounds great.
So I'm definitely going, and I think it's going to be an amazing time.
I'll do that.
I want to say Eagle Likeness or
Probably.
Stoneburner. I can't remember. It's like every East Coast band is playing in New Jersey. Long Lost, I think, are going to be there.
Long Lost, Abbey Death.
Abbey Death, yes.
I love those dudes.
They're cool,
They're
man.
sweet. They're so sweet.
For sure.
Yeah.
A ton of bands are going to be there, so I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Good shit.
And it's not really expensive either.
No, surprisingly for
very reasonable.
Number of it's well below Kinetic level ticket.
50-ish bucks.
It's like 50-ish bucks for an absurd number of bands.
At least 20.
Yeah.
20-ish.
It's
easy.
It's impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but to get back to the point, Helix, the new record from Helix, the only record from Helix.
Mm-hmm.
Very good.
Cool.
Very good stuff.
I'll check it out.
The last thing I was going to mention as far as new releases was Orbital just came out with a record like yesterday called Monsters Exist, I believe.
Oh, nice.
And I haven't listened to it yet. I haven't listened to it. I like Orbital from back in the day, you know, the girl with the sun in her head, the
Halcyon.
box, Halcyon and on and on.
Yep.
Great stuff.
Precious Seconds.
I don't remember that one right now.
It's ridiculous.
Okay.
Metal people hate it. Like it's cool.
Did you ever hear the live version of Halcyon and on?
Yes.
With the Belinda Carlisle?
It's amazing. And Bon Jovi.
Yes.
It is brilliant.
I love it. I hate Bon Jovi, but I love that song.
I hate Bon Jovi, but I love that song.
Yes.
I'm with you.
Yes.
Absolutely. Because it's such a perfect understanding. It's like, it's as if Orbital, I don't know what his real name, what the artist name is, but...
Hartnell, I think? The two brothers.
It's as if he's saying, all of you people who are like just shoveling this pop music into your mouth don't even realize that everything is the same fucking song. That's exactly what they're saying as they busted that out. And you're like, oh shit, Shot to the Heart and Heaven is a Place on Earth?
On Earth, yeah.
Are the same fucking song. And it's just like, but it's like, but then like there's this dance beat behind it,
yeah,
and they both become awesome just for the duration of this song.
I loved it, and
it's really good.
I love that they covered the Doctor Who theme. I like a lot of stuff that they've done. They're not directly goth-industrial, but they're worth mentioning.
Their Doctor Who cover was okay. It's not as good as the KLF's version.
Oh, the Time Lords?
The Time Lords did the like.
That's not the theme song, though.
Ultimate.
What?
Yeah.
What was that called?
It's a bastard. It's Doctor in the TARDIS, and it's a weird version of.
Was that the name of
Rock and Roll Part 1 by Gary Glitter?
Right.
That's redone with Doctor Who.
Yeah.
And
in like 8th grade.
It is a monstrosity, but it's beautiful. In
like 8th grade art class, I did a fucking cover for that, and I made the image of the disc what the record would look like and the record label. I don't remember. I was into that shit back in the day.
Oh,
that's all I'm saying.
Good taste. Hell yeah.
Thank you. So yeah, the new Orbital record. Check it out.
Cool.
I haven't checked it out yet, but I suspect it will be very good, or at least quality, if not artistically great. It will be technically great, which is, you know, sometimes all you need, sometimes probably not, but I'm drunk, so whatever.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to mention, since we last talked, Doc Martin has come out with some Joy Division and New Order signature boots.
Give me 1 second.
Sure.
I just got a text from a house, someone who's heading to my house.
Oh.
So I can't go too much longer. But
okay. No, that's okay. I expected that.
But that's crazy that, like, there's Doc Martin signature edition or something?
Yeah, some kind of artist thing. The Unknown Pleasures Joy Division boots. I kind of like the look of, but I think they're only available in leather, which I try to stay away from.
Yeah, I think we're really... This world should be... It's archaic in stupid ways. Like, I had an Impossible Burger today.
Oh, yeah?
Have you had one of those yet?
I haven't. I've heard a lot about them, though.
Yeah. Does it taste exactly like meat? I can't tell you. Because nobody eats a fucking burger by itself. Like, nobody just eats a burger. It's on a bun. It's got, like, some kind of sauce. It's got, like, some kind of vegetable on it usually. But I will say, it is absolutely as good. Like, there is no reason to be sad for missing a burger if you're eating that, because I haven't had beef in a very long time, so like,
really?
I couldn't tell the difference. I don't eat beef.
Oh, okay.
I couldn't tell the difference. It was just great. As a matter of fact, it could have been beef. They could have fucked my order up. I have no idea. It took an hour for the food to come, but it was great.
Where'd you have it? Troy?
Slide and Dirty, yeah.
Oh, Slide and Dirty has that.
Yeah, they have them.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
There's a Slide and Dirty next to my workplace.
Hit it.
I got to check that shit out.
Yeah.
Okay, because I've had the Beyond Meat burger.
The Impossible is a next level because they actually went so far as to figure out what makes meat taste like meat. And it's I guess the hemoglobin type stuff that is in meat that they found plants that also produce that and have like incorporated that into it. So like it has that sort of like thing while being meat free.
Interesting.
It
As a vegetarian, I'm a little scared of things that taste too much like meat.
well, it didn't though.
Like, I want to have that middle ground where I'm not scared that it is meat, but I'm not.
It
You know what I
didn't-
mean?
I guess I couldn't. As I said, they might have fucked shit up, and I could have just had burgers. But it's been so long, I couldn't tell.
Wow.
But
Okay.
I'm not a burger expert. Tanya had said, that it was like equivalent of a well done burger. Not like an immaculate burger, but one that had been cooked to full cookedness. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and I just didn't have the palate, and I was just like, "Oh, this could be meat. I have no idea."
You
It's
enjoyed
good.
it?
Yeah, it was good. It was really
Okay.
good.
That's good to know. Cool.
But yeah, it goes back to those things that like we don't need. It's fucking 2018. This is a super sci-fi time to be alive. We don't need leather anymore. We don't need beef anymore. We really don't need any of that shit. And it's all like really like painfully inefficient too. It's like if you can make if you can make a product from the thing that product eats, you gain efficiency. So instead of like eating the cow that eats the vegetables, you just eat the vegetables, you've gained a whole tier of efficiency that you were missing out on from just like the cow like existing, I guess. But
Right.
so yeah, it's time.
That's cool. I have to say, the latest belt I bought is actually all plastic, and it has a plastic buckle.
Oh, cool.
And I thought this would be bullshit, and it wouldn't last, and it would kind of fall apart, and it would be crap. But it's really great, and I'm sorry I don't have the brand name, but it's really good, and you can just, at the airport, you don't have to take it off, there's no metal on it. You just go through the detectors, and
I travel enough now that I have the what do they call it? TSA pre-check.
okay.
And I don't have to do any of those shenanigans.
Do you want to talk about your latest trip? You were in Denver, right?
I will tell a quick story. I went to Denver, Colorado, and to just give a quick story, my comedic delivery is off, but I will say that I almost got my traveling companion killed.
Really?
Yeah, so we met this guy in Denver who had the poorest solicitation for aid delivery that you can imagine. We're on the street of Denver in the River North, a.k.a. Rhino. That's what they call it. The art district is River North, Rhino. So we were in Rhino, and this guy comes up to us, and he's like, "Hey, you guys want to make some money real quick?" Which like is like the shadiest pickup line ever.
Yeah.
It's like nothing good is going to come from this. But I am not conventional. So my coworker's like, "Yeah, no, I don't think so." And I'm like,
You're weirdos, what that
yeah.
translates to.
yeah, I'm like, well, hold on here. Let's hear him out. So we heard, and it turns out this was actually just a really nice guy who had really little wherewithal about how he was coming across. and it was a glass blowing artist who had gotten delivery of a special, I guess eventually we'll get a comment section and people will say, oh, this is the X Mark 511, whatever. But it was a device used to condition the air supply going to your glass. I think it was a deoxygenator or something having to do with glass blowing. So he's like,
Oh.
I just got this thing and I can't get it up to my studio by myself. Can you help me?
Okay.
And I was like, okay, you know what? This is a good story. Let's do it. So we got over, and as we're walking over, I say, okay, 1, 2, 3, no stabbing. I called it. You can't mug us or stab us now, okay? And he was like, okay. And it's at that point that I had like flipped the script, and he became more wary of us than we were of him. He's like, what the fuck is with these guys?
Yeah.
So, but I called it. So he could not stab us.
That's the Mechno Sferatu I know and
That's
love.
right. That's right. So I called it. But we get to this guy's place, and there is a wooden crate that is taller than me that he real quick, takes a screw gun and takes apart. And this compressor thing is huge. And I would guess it weighs 300 pounds.
Oof.
So me and this dude are up at the top because the compressor unit is sitting at the head of this tank. So the heavy part is at the top. And my coworker is at the bottom and so we're bringing it up the stairs. And I will say that had it tipped, my coworker would have been dead.
Jesus.
Because it just it was so difficult. We were like, okay, gonna put it down for a second. He's like, I can't put it down. so we're like dragging it up the stairs, and we get it up the stairs, and the guy made an attempt to palm us each like $20 for helping him, but we said, just, hey, we're only here for a couple days. Tell us something cool we should do or where we should go eat or whatever. And it turns out this guy had only lived in Denver for 2 weeks. And so he had no idea. He just pointed to the place that was across the street from his studio, and he's like, well, there's food there, and I've eaten it, and it's good. And that's the story how I tried the Shake Shack for the first time.
No, Shake Shack. I've heard a lot about it. Is it all right?
Yeah, it was fine.
It wasn't amazing.
Well, like I said, I rarely eat beef. But for certain things, I'll this is supposed to be amazing. I'll try it. And almost every time, I'm like, okay, yeah, it was just a fucking hamburger.
Okay, so let's pause for a minute. So Shake Shack, have you had In-N-Out?
I have.
Have you had Five Guys?
Yeah, I have.
Five Guys is the only place we're talking about that's around here in the Northeast. So which do you prefer?
It doesn't fucking matter.
It's all the same shit?
It turns out I don't give a shit about beef. That's really what it comes down to.
Fair enough.
That, they're fine, but I think I just don't love it. It's not the only one that I actually will have a craving for is McDonald's, because McDonald's puts drugs in their food.
It's definitely not real food, right?
No, it's I think a big part of it is cellulose and MSG. I think that's part of the magic. And
I'm proud to say I haven't had fast food in 18 years.
Yeah, good for you.
Fuck that shit.
Yeah, it's probably not food. Yeah, I'll go with that. It's probably not food.
It doesn't seem like it.
No, it's just food-shaped drugs that are meant to make you buy more of it, but not nourishing you in any fashion.
Yeah.
I think really the best it does is that for a short duration you're no longer hungry. but it's a pretty short duration because your body can only like buy into that bullshit for so long before it realizes like I was hungry and I got none of what I was needing, what I was signaling. So like try again.
Yeah.
So like, you know, it's whatever. But
so you saved your coworker's life.
yeah, well, I didn't kill him, which I guess I spared his life by not like tipping it. But I guess it was also extra risky because there's a really high elevation in Colorado,
Yeah.
in Denver.
Yeah.
So pulling this 300-pound thing up the stairs with somebody who also was not from Denver,
Oh shit.
we were like
yeah.
really out of breath. from-
Winded, yeah.
Yeah, so like Ryan could have died.
I've been to Denver before, and it's fucked. Like, I went to Red Rocks, and my friend was, like, running up the stairs after we explored the park a little bit at the auditorium.
Yeah.
And I was trying to run up there, and I was just like, whoa, no.
Yeah.
It's
interesting.
It's the Mile High City. It's an
Yeah.
adjustment, for sure.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
And I did go to a dispensary,
Oh, yeah?
and that was an interesting experience. I didn't end up buying any weed-related stuff, not because I don't smoke.
Weed doesn't work for you, basically.
Yeah, weed works very poorly.
You're allergic or
Yeah, it's a bad
something.
reaction. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
atypical. An atypical weed reaction, clinically. But you know, I was looking for something that I would not be stressed out to bring back as a souvenir. So, like, I ended up purchasing a small tray. Of course, I go into all these situations.
Well, a tray of what? I don't understand.
Well, I'll get there.
Okay.
So I go into these situations and I don't realize how weird my normal mannerisms can be. So I had sunglasses on and I forgot that I had sunglasses on. So like I step in and there's like a 4 foot by 4 foot room with a security window where you have to pass your ID and then they will pass you into the secured store once you've done it to protect themselves from being robbed or whatever.
Yeah.
So I enter into the store and I've still got my sunglasses on. And then, you know, after a few minutes, I'm like, oh, you know, hey, I'm sorry. I'm incredibly rude. I didn't take my glasses off when I got inside. I would hate for you to think that, like, New Yorkers actually are rude. And then he puts me at ease and he's like, please, I am Russian. I'm like, okay, all right.
Nice.
This guy's got thick skin. He can handle it. But he, like, when I said, okay, I want something that I can bring back on the plane. And this guy is absolutely, like, traumatized by, I would imagine, the, I was going to say drills, but I guess that they do these checks on them to make sure they're operating a legit business, that are not encouraging illegal activity. So, you know, he's like, no. He's telling me no without, like, and I'm like trying to, like, I'm like, but what? And so finally I'm like, I don't want any marijuana. I want, like, a tray or glass or something that I can bring back as a souvenir.
Yeah, souvenir type
Yeah,
thing.
at this
Right.
point, when he suddenly was like, oh, okay, this is not a sting operation where you're trying to convince, like, trying to get me to help you break the law.
Yeah.
You are legit. And then he motioned to the, like, entire side of the shop that had, like, little
Whoa.
little art. Jeez, it's weak.
Sorry about that.
There we go. It had, like, these little trays for, I guess, preparing weed? I don't really understand it. But
Oh, okay.
it's like these little, it's like, imagine, like, the ashtrays that,
You can just, whatever.
there we go. No, this will work. That's good. These little ashtrays that they used to have at McDonald's, but, like, bigger. It's hard to explain. But
Okay.
anyhow, it's like a big tray.
I remember the McDonald's trays. That's a deep 80s cut
It
right
really
there.
is, yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, it's a big tray that has an art print in it that was really cool that I brought back, and I didn't get, like, I'd say it's like a 4x7 tray. But
Okay.
it was cool. And I was able to bring that back without like sweating bullets through the TSA. But this all comes back to to my saying that if you do travel a lot, I endorse getting TSA pre-check because the experience of going through security is much more pleasant if you're pre-check. Because that's like where professional travelers go, and they know you're not doing like you've spent a modest, very modest amount of money because you do this often enough. It's like $80 for 5 years of pre-check.
Okay.
So it's really not a huge sum, but you don't have to take your shoes off. You don't have to take stuff out of your bag. I don't think they give a shit about liquids or whatever. It just like, they're like, okay, yeah, come on.
That sounds pretty good.
Yeah, I unfortunately have to take my shoes off because I'm weird and every one of my shoes have steel toes.
Oh, okay.
So like I have to take them off, but I
Yeah.
don't have to take off my belt. They're like, it's fine. Basically, it's like a terrorist would never spend $86. They would never do it.
You still have to go through the body scanner and all that?
Yeah, well, I don't think it's a maybe. It's hard to tell the difference between the body scanner and the metal detector.
Well, you
these
have to
days.
stand in the thing and put your hands up?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I guess the rape scan is in effect, but take a picture to last longer.
Whoa.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. Denver is an interesting place. It's not a culture I'm used to. I feel like it's a lot of transplant culture where people are from New York or they're from California or
Yeah.
they're from,
Well, it's so blown up right now.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, I really don't get a good feel for what Denver culture is, but I see what a lot of people have brought to it. But it's cool.
Where did you go? Milk? Is that the name of the bar?
Oh yeah, I went to Milk Bar, and Milk is a very nice bar, really lovely. This is my second time going there, and I don't know. I talked to nobody, but that's to be expected. The first time I went, I actually did make a couple friends, and it was cool. But it's a very posh bar, but it's like it closes at 12:30. So these people don't know shit about partying.
Wow.
From a New York perspective,
Damn.
they got a lot of growth.
We go
have
till
some-
4 a.m. out here, son.
Hell yeah. Come on.
Damn.
Only Miami is harder than New York.
Really? I'm going to Miami next week.
From what I hear, Miami has like a mandatory hour of not serving alcohol, and that's as closed as it gets.
Damn.
So like they'll like switch to coffee and breakfast for an hour and then back into club mode.
That's fucking crazy.
Bitches.
I don't
Yeah.
think I'll have the energy to try to do that, but I will
Go
be
for
there.
it. Dig deep.
No, I don't know.
Energy drinks.
No.
No? Ah.
Not a big fan. But that drink, the Maryland Monster, was pretty good.
Yeah, it's
I
not
did
bad.
finish it, and now
Hooray.
I'm truly blasted,
Yes.
which means that maybe we should wrap this shit up.
Yeah, let's do it. I'd like to say I appreciate anyone who has listened to my rambling, because I realize with a bit of perspective I am a weird dude.
You're a weird dude, but you're a good dude.
Oh, you're a good dude.
Well, thank you.
Thanks, man.
I'm a very introverted dude. I don't think a lot of people know me, so whatever.
I think that like everybody, or not everybody, but introverts are selectively introverted, and they just like don't like bullshit.
Yeah, that's definitely part of it, for sure.
Like not a big fan of bullshit.
Yeah.
Not a
Just
big fan of like people getting in my space.
Yeah.
It's not cool.
Get to the point.
Just don't touch me.
Tell me what you need to say. Don't
Dude.
fucking rub my shoulders. I did not give you consent for that.
Look, man, I just wanted food.
Give me my Greek food and get the fuck away from
I
me.
didn't realize this was going to come with a massage.
Yeah.
Could you not do this? Don't sit with us.
No, thank you.
I came with the people I wanted to eat with. I didn't know you'd be joining us.
No, thank you.
Yeah, I feel you. No, for real.
That was like 3 years ago, right? That was a while ago now.
It's like it was yesterday. Really, it's a very relevant experience. Because it's the perfect snapshot. You go to a restaurant, and the restaurant owner is so...
Swarmy?
I was going to say...
Smarmy? What's the word?
Well...
Schmoozy?
Gregarious? Is that the right...
Gregarious is just like amiable and generous, I think.
He's gregarious and very extroverted.
He's touchy.
And he's like touching you and like patting you on the back at first, and then it progresses to shoulder massages, and then he's sitting with you and he's like talking and has his hand on your shoulder while he's talking to you.
It's a cultural thing. I do not care for it.
I guess. I mean, I think that every culture has to have a large percentage of the population that would rather you not do that. Like, I think any culture, if you're like in Lebanon, there is tons of people who have the feeling of, could you please stop touching me?
Maybe I will ask my Lebanese fan how that goes.
Yeah, like when you go out to eat and somebody is touching you while you're trying to eat, is this off-putting?
Yeah.
They're going to say yes.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I think extroverts are not the majority. They're just, like, entitled. They feel like, oh, what's the problem? Hey.
Yeah, there's consent issues there. I don't know.
That said, I like the dude. I can switch into extrovert mode well enough that it doesn't bug me.
You're versatile like that. I can't get there most of the time.
It's tough. There's a rap song called Everyday Average Normal Guy. And it's pretty good, but there's like one of his refrains is, I get nervous in social situations, motherfucker. And he just talks about how he's like really normal.
Nice.
And like that's one of the things. And my coworker's like, when I heard that, I thought of you. And I was like, it's about right. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Who's the artist on that?
Oh my gosh, I can't remember.
Send that shit to me.
Yeah, it's really good.
Awesome.
Yeah. All right, well, are you thirsty anymore?
I finished that Maryland Monster and I'm fucking good.
Nice. All right, well, I hope these kids are also not mad thirsty anymore.
I think we got some quenching going on, but we have to have a regular quench session from now on.
Yeah, I like that. Let's do it.
We missed like 2 or 3 months in there.
It's been a crazy summer, but let's get back to it.
All right.
Cool, man.
Good.
Well,
all right.
Peace out.
Yeah. Peace, everybody. Have a great night. Bye-bye.
This shit is off the hook, and I'm not very good with the women. I'm a pretty shy person and I'm average looking. Last time I had sex was in 2003, and I'm ashamed to admit, but it wasn't free. I'm just a regular, everyday, normal guy. I get nervous in social situations, motherfucker. I'm just a regular, everyday, normal guy. I get constipated once a month, motherfucker. I'm just a regular, everyday, normal guy. And I make pretty good spaghetti sauce, motherfucker. I'm just a regular, everyday, normal guy. And I get scared when I go see the dentist. I'm the Pauly Shore of everyday life, easily forgettable, and I'm not very light. I have an according to Jim personality. I'm as entertaining as a fucking STD. If you wanna mess with me, I think you probably can, because I'm not confident and I'm weak for a man. I'll just roll up in a ball while you kick me in the back. Yeah, honestly, I probably won't fight.